Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TCR, the Platinum Class. Tonight, we are here at the final race of the season, and it's been a long one, but we're here and we're going to talk to two of the championship contenders, the main two. Joe Breezy, C Freeze, we kidnapped you before qualifying. Are we going to really mess with your pressure?
I don't think so.
I'm good.
Nonetheless, we've got both of these gentlemen in with us and we'll get to talking to them right away. But first, I've got to introduce my partner in crime. He's back for the final time. Dre, no more Dr. Funk for you then?
I guess not, no.
But
good luck to both Seafreeze and Joe Breezy. I think it'll be an exciting race no matter what.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, let's start with Seafreeze himself. 16 rounds, and you had a fairly dominant run last season, and now you're coming into this one where you've got to really fight at the end. Are you feeling nervous, or are you feeling excited for this one?
I guess more relieved. Let's not use your words. I'm gonna make my own up. We'll do relieved. Is that because I'm English? No. I mean that's part of it, but not all of it. No, I'm just relieved to. I know everyone has put a lot of practice in, but I guess more so McLaren and Torosso. We put a lot in as we're still the guys at stake in the championships, both championships. So I'm just relieved to be done after today. But yeah, either way, however it turns out, we should both be, pretty happy with their seasons. We've had I had a lot of fun in it, but now it's time to, after today, pack it all up.
So you're the driver on the back foot in a way out of all of this. You've got all the work to do. What's Mexico got to give you to have a Seafreeze win tonight, or a Seafreeze taking your win and the championship tonight, as well as the constructors?
Yeah, the constructors is probably the easier championship to get, I think. If anything, we've been pretty close with that. I think still a lot has to go right, but the speed between me and Kersey is quite good, so I think we have a shot at that. As far as the drivers, it's going to be really up to Breezy to lose, because he's got to finish like outside the podium. So I think he's only done that like a few times in the season, with like mistakes, probably either him or someone else's mistake put him in that situation. So I just like to win here. This is one of the tracks I have not won at, and I like to go out winning. The podium should always be a definite, but a win would be nice. And then yeah, then I know that I did everything that I could in my situation.
Are you looking forward to the potential of rain at this circuit, or is that something that would more damage your race than anything else?
Knowing how my races turned up, both at Torosso and with Ferrari, with Talon and Kersey in the past few seasons, in the wet, especially with my throttle in the wet, twitching, which I need to get a new pedal set. I don't think that would be the best for me. But if it means that it's harder for Breezy, then maybe. But to be honest, if it rains, I don't think I'll be a podium contender. Unless it's fully just wet all the way through. Like, I'm fine with that. But I'm not good with the strategy. we throw way too many races out of the water with the strategy in Belgium, for example. It's unrealistic, in my opinion, the way they do things, and the track dries up too quick or gets too wet too quick, and it's unrealistic. What you think the opposite, and for me, I can't do that. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So Dre, any questions for the possible champion?
Yeah. So really, for the most of the season, it's really been the top four of you guys. Go-to guy, Dougie, Falcon, and then Seafreeze and Joe Breezy. Now, you guys have made more mistakes and got more wins at podiums between you guys, so they are no longer in contention. But just between you guys have 11 wins, 6 for Joe Breezy, and then 5 for Sea Freaks, and you guys been neck and neck with the entire season. Oftentimes, you guys will finish either first or second. Either Joe Breezy will finish first and Sea Freaks second, or vice versa. And so now that it's come down to the last race, are you going to do anything different? Are you going to be cautious, or are you going to risk it all on the first lap into turn 1?
Oh man. Like I said, it's really Breezy's to lose. I don't think even in any race I've gained so many points in one race. It's a lot to leave up. I don't know what the gap is exactly. It's a pretty big, order. But I'm gonna be aggressive, but I'm also gonna do my race. Like I said, I just like to win the race. I can't control where Breezy finishes. That's all on him. So if something happens to him or whatever, that'll good for me as well. But I just kept doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I could get, I guess, my 6th win of the season. That'd be cool.
And same thing to Joe Breezy.
Honestly, I think the lap 1, turn 1 is really going to determine a lot of things. Me personally, I honestly will probably be taking it a bit cautious through there. I know what I need to do, and it's not win this race. So if it's there, I'll go for it. But honestly, my aggressiveness towards winning the race is not going to be like the likes of Canada or USA. So I would like to, but at the same time, I'm not going to risk spinning my car to do
right.
So
it's actually 14 points separate you two, if I did my math correct.
That is correct.
Sea Furies, you got to win, and I think Joe Breezy has to at least finish worse than 4th. And and then vice versa, if you finish with the podium, obviously he has to finish low on the grid. But I know it's going to be kind of a complicated race here. We'll see what happens, but I know there's a lot of pressure too on the both of you guys. So no matter what, good luck. And there can only be one, so no matter who wins, good luck to the both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
One final question for Joe. You're coming off a win in America. You said back in Canada, it's not many times we see you and Chris fight. And Canada was almost spoilt by that ghosting incident, which shouldn't happen, but did happen. Thanks, Codemasters. Are you almost hoping today that you can race him and have fun for this championship as well?
I would like that. However, I'm probably not going to risk that. I'm going to go for a very clean pass, or not at all.
Would you like Damaso to race him for you?
If he's showing the pace, he is more than welcome. I know where I need to finish at. I know what I need to do, and that's what I'm shooting for. If the win falls in my hands, I'll take it.
You seem nervous there, Joe. Are you good?
I'm not nervous. No,
well, let's be honest. Chris's Red Bull hasn't kicked in yet, so he's going to be vibrating by the time.
Before quali. That's the first. Hopefully,
See,
my race
you're
pace at the end
definitely
is still
nervous
good,
if you're drinking this early. What's in that Red Bull, by the way? How much vodka was put in it?
Oh, I don't know if they give it to me. My my public relations or whatever you said earlier. they do it.
That's
for me.
interesting. Do you guys have any superstitions that you guys do before a race, or anything that kind of get you in the zone before the race starts?
Oh, absolutely.
We can't talk about what you do before the race.
If you do not have a ritual before the race, then you're not a true league racer, in my opinion. I have a bunch of things that I do.
Do you go off and
usually
punch
on
a
my
puppy?
day.
Because that's what I do.
I mean, that could... that's not my cup of tea. I pet my dog. I don't know what you do over there, but yeah. Yeah, I always listen to music, I guess. Red Bull. A little, I don't know.
How about you, Joe?
I mean, I do a lot of stuff similar, I guess. I always usually get on like an hour before, do a few quali sessions. hang out with the team, I guess.
Okay. You guys both keeping your cards to your chest here. You don't want to reveal your secrets before the
No,
last
I mean,
race.
Hey, it's the end of the season. All
Thursday's
we
a
have to do is
laundry
switch
day
it
for
up
me
next
too,
year.
if you want to really know.
everything's
Thursday's laundry,
everything's already kind of everything's already kind of pre.
Sometimes I wash my car, that's those are my
Gotcha,
cards.
gotcha.
If we get
Okay.
if we get 50 likes on the stream, both these guys will do vlogs before the start of the season next year to tell us what they do.
Please, I'd
And
love
sea
50
freezers
likes.
will be uploaded to several different websites, including one that is black and orange.
Oh,
Oh man. Well, if you have any questions, or I'd just like to say one thing before we start.
Go on.
Well, firstly, thanks to, this is not the driver C-Freeze, this is the other side of me. Thanks to everyone for a really good Season 9 of TCR, both on all 3 classes, all the drivers, commentators, board members, the viewers, part-time, full-time drivers, everything. It's been a long season, I think. A lot of people, like myself, would like a good break as we near F1 2020 on the new game. If anyone obviously wants to join, we have the link on the website. Please join, check us out sometime in August. So it should be pretty cool, especially with the no line change in Platinum. So that's all good there. Also, I'd like to shout out, obviously, a few drivers that have been with TCR for a pretty long while, and I think everyone should show them support, not only in today's race, just in the comments or something, leave them a nice message to Talon, Xanamar, and Dre Diggy up in the booth. They're all stepping away for next season, driving-wise. Talon's been here since Season 1. Xander, Season 5, I think Dre as well, Season 5, so... Talon is not making it today, unfortunately. He had something come up last minute, so we won't see Talon in the car today, but we'll see Xander and Dre had his race yesterday, and also in the comms. So just a little shout out there, and thanks for all the commitment. And yeah, let's go racing.
He's getting emotional before the race. This is going to do
No, I'm
darn
not
so well for the
emotional.
championship. No, I don't feel anything.
I don't cry.
This tear rolling down my cheek is fake.
Yeah, a little water, I got teary eyes. Alright, that's all I gotta say, but good luck, and yeah, let's go racing.
So we'll release the drivers, let them head back to their teams, go see what they do. Maybe C3s will go rub his car a few more times, soak it in Red Bull or something. I'll turn over to you, Dre. Now, you were at this track last night. You went for a little bit of a swim.
Guys, I'll see you later.
See ya.
You went for a bit of a swim last night, Dre, in a very wet race. What does this track take to win?
Oh man, so I think most drivers yesterday. Well, here's the thing about Golden Class: the entire season, we pretty much had a dry race, and certainly no full wet or intermediate things like that. But up until the very last race, we finally had our only wet race of the season, and it was the entire race was wet. And so I think most people assumed that it was going to be dry and kind of was practicing in the dry. Maybe some people practicing in the wet, but I think it was all a bit of a shocker for most of us to find out our very last race will be a wet one. So, yeah, I went on a wet strategy, and starting off is of course completely drenched in terms of your screen and things like that, especially heading to turn 1. But for the most part, we made it through there okay. There were 2 safety cars throughout the race. A couple of drivers retired, but overall, pretty great action pack. If the race stays dry today, we will see multiple strategies, because here at Mexico, even in the dry, it's often a 2-stop or multi-stop race because of the high degradation on the tires. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some drivers starts on the softs and then do 2 mediums, or a soft to a hard, and then try to do a medium to end, or either way. There are multiple combinations we'll see drivers do tonight, but it's certainly going to be interesting. And after last night's race and the Tuesday race, it was definitely going to be as we start to head to the qualifying. If my records are correct, so far Xandamar has a 1:14.006 qualifying. I don't think anyone's beat that so far. And so far his pole position, his qualifying time remains from Platinum class. We had F1 2018. So we'll see what happens. But excited to be here at Mexico.
All right, so a little bit more information on what we were talking about. These are the conditions of how Joe Breezy can win the championship, or will win both championships. If Joe finishes in P1, both championships are secure, so the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship. Toro Rosso finishing 1-2, McLaren need a 3-4 or a 3-5 to win the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship. Anything that happens, Joe has to be on the podium to win the championship.
Correct. Yeah, Joe's going to have to, have a solid performance today. He doesn't have to have his best performance. You just have to have a solid one. C3 has to have his best performance in terms of win the race or get on the podium and basically finish ahead of his of Joe Breezy no matter what. And then obviously Joe Breezy had to have some kind of bad luck, but. We'll see what happens. I imagine them being in the top 5 during qualifying. We got some fast cars out there outside of Joe Breezy and C3s, but they will be the main guys we'll be talking about today.
I have just had a message from the McLaren pit wall, and they're saying dry qualifying and a dry race. We have a straight fight for the championship here, and this is going to get rather fun as we see a Haas rolling down the pit lane as the professional leaves the pit lane straight away. I believe that may be go-to guy in the Haas. As we wait to see... Go on.
Oh, I was going to say, also, Joan, we do have a few reserve drivers. GTR Line, who's been part of the TCR series for a number of seasons. I think season 4 or season 5 when I was joined. He was my teammate when I initially joined TCR. And then we got last week race in the last night's race, in the Golden class, flip-flop. And he also participated in the Brazilian Grand Prix. He did really well there, so interesting to see how he's going to perform tonight as well.
As we wait for the cars to start setting up their qualifying lap times, Dre, can I ask you to run through the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships for me?
Sure, 1 second.
Thank you very much.
We got Joe Breezy with 275 points. He also have 6 wins under his belt. In second place, we got C3s with 261 points, 14 points away behind Joe Breezy for the championship in Constructor, and he has 5 wins this season. And a little further behind, we have Dougie Falcon with 205, Go-To Guy with 171 points, Xandamar with 115 points, Talon with 74 points, The Muscle 74 points, Kuzi with 69 points, iRoll with 48 points, Fatal with 38 points, Ko-Chin and P11 for 31 points, Sequit for 28 points, Dothor Heist with 26 points, Professional with 25 points, HVAC Toaster and P15 for 20 points, Mick and the Renault got 18 points. Bliss Racing, we haven't seen him around, but he has 12 points. Cat Berge, 12 points. Be Good, 2 points. And then Giant Johnson Alex, who retired from the season, is in P20th with 0 points. And as our constructor, I'll just highlight the top 3. We have McLaren with 349 points. Toro Rosso with 330 points. And then Haas with 286 points. So even though Haas drivers like Xandamar and Go-To Guy may not, be contention for the points for the championship, but they're still in a pretty good spot to do well in terms of the constructors. And that is our points.
Opening bouts of the qualifying lap times are all coming flooding in. Go-To Guy is current pole position man of a 1:14.8, apologies, and Xandamar, his teammate, is a 1:51, but Damaso demolishing them a 1:14.7. I will get my numbers straight in a minute, but currently a Mexican is in provisional pole position. Little bit of things I noticed though upon the lap I watched of Go-To Guy. Mr. Downtown, who is in the Mercedes tonight, he was in AI mode, and it almost cost Go-To Guy his lap time.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate. We definitely got to be careful. Even though it's the last race, so we still got to stick to the rules, stewarding, and sportsmanship of the track. That's not always easy because you kind of some drivers get kind of careless on the last race. They just kind of want to risk everything else, see if they get the best finish to the end of the season. But certainly want to be careful. But Damaso's doing pretty well right now. He's actually 7/10 off from the record lap we have here by Xandamar, who got a 14 flat. And so we'll see what happens if drivers can get closer to that.
Just went on board watching Kersey give his teammate a tow, doing everything he can to help out the championship contender in the 22 car of C3s. And the world holds its breath as these 14 gladiators go running here in Mexico. This track is great fun in the dry. In the wet, it's a little bit less fun. But what do you think? Who's going to come out on top, do you think, today?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be difficult. We certainly have the advantage of Joe Breeze, and he's been a little bit more consistent throughout the season. He has 14 points over C-Freeze, but I think, honestly, it's going to be a tough battle and essentially a brawl between those two before this race is over. I don't know we talked to C-Freeze. He's definitely going to do his level best to try to get ahead of Joe Breezy. But as we can heard from the commentators, the conversation before, Joe Breezy is not going to risk it all, but he's just going to have a solid performance. I don't know. I can't really say right now. I think I'll make that prediction after qualifying.
We will attempt to get 2 onboard laps of the drivers with both of them with full telemetry, as we see Dougie Falcons. Unfortunately, it seemed like he was abandoning his lap time on the soft run, popping into P8 as he braked and abandoned the lap time. Fatal popping it into P8 now instead in the Williams. The sole Williams driver tonight as Kyochin's power supply for his PlayStation seems to have suffered. But Joe Breezy taking provisional pole position, a 1:14.050 is the opening move for the McLaren driver. Is that quick? That's actually just shy of Xandamar's record lap here for TCR, and so we'll see what happens. Certainly, C-Freeze is right there behind him. See, just a 10th off. So, like I said, I imagine these guys being 1 or 2 on the top podium for qualifying, and now we'll see what happens. Maybe what we're looking at so far, maybe the results. But it certainly looked like that the season C-Free just right behind Joe Breezy. But he's right there in case Joe Breezy makes any mistakes. Potential of safety cars here, quite high. The walls might be far away, but you can still get in a bit of trouble. As the 69 car of Lion makes a mistake, and there goes his lap time.
Yeah, unfortunate for GTR Lion. He's a very experienced driver. But there's still plenty of time to put out a pretty solid lap. Also, too, great qualifying results so far with Team Haas for a go-to guy in Xandamar. Really, the really top teams, really the McLarens, Toro Rosso and Haas, they performed pretty well throughout the entire season. And they're certainly showing their strength tonight thus far.
Let's go on board with a driver who's starting his final race in TCR, and that is Xandamar. We have the telemetry on as he comes into turn 1 and 2. Here, the Haas driver still in bout, still could have some fun with the Constructors' Championship, but let's see what he can do. The 34 car, the Canadian driver coming into his final race, and he's gone purple in Sector 1. A little bit wide there as he enters Sector 2. What do we think, Dre? Is he comfortable looking for a potential pole position today?
Well, he certainly knows how to get around the track, that's for sure. And I think from what I saw in the chat, Xandamar was definitely looking forward to the last race. Again, it's going to be his last hurrah for now. and he definitely wanted to put in a great showing. But actually get through those S's pretty good. He got a fastest lap in Sector 1. I think he did pretty well in Sector 2, but now he's going to the stadium section, which is going to be very tight and slow, especially when you're in traffic. I definitely experienced that last night. But thus far, he's doing really well, and he's coming around the last corner. Let's see if he can prove his time.
Ooh, it's actually down on his time. Oh, sorry, up on his time. So, Zandamar not improving on that lap time. Driver who is looking to improve, though, is Damaso, who's on a run now, or he's on a slow lap in. Drivers are just getting a little bit etchy. I wonder what iRoll's up to. He's invalidated his lap time in the McLaren. How did I get McLaren from Ferrari? I need this holiday, don't I?
Yeah. Seafree is getting ready to start his fastest lap here, and I think he's going to get some help from his teammate. I just saw some passing there. I think Kuzi might give Seafreeze a boost down the straightaway. Let's watch aboard Seafreeze to see if that's the case.
We're going to watch the full lap on Seafreeze's car as he comes around the final corner. We got telemetry on his teammate into pit lane, so no assistance this time for Seafreeze. He comes around. He has to beat a 1:14.1 to improve his lap time. He opens DRS, now running down towards turn 1. This straight is going to give some tremendous racing, possibly even as much cars as 5 wide heading into turn 1 here on lap 1. We can see what happens. So Seafreeze coming through turns 1, turns 2, bouncing over the curb and into turn 3. A little bit of oversteer there as the rear end slips. DRS open and heading towards sector 2. His first split time, a little bit scruffy that time, Dre, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he's doing pretty well. Not the fastest sector 1, but actually Joe Breeze is actually on his fast lap as well. He's starting at the same time as Seafreeze. And so I'm running aboard with Joe Breeze at the moment, but Seafreeze is doing pretty well thus far. He's getting through these S's. These S's are really difficult. It's so easy to step out. And part of this, you do have to kind of essentially ride one tire on the track left and right in order to get the fastest lap. Actually, Seafreeze has the fastest sector 2.
He's got traffic.
He's definitely pushing.
He's got traffic coming up. The Racing Point and the Mercedes, I think they'll just start their lap times before he gets round. Oh, they're heading into pit lane, but it seems a pretty seamless lap time. What can he do? Tight to the pit wall as he comes across the line. It's P1 at 1:13.8.
Oh, absolutely crushes that lap.
Joe Breezy a little bit up on his lap time. That's the wrong thing I want to turn off. I want to turn telemetry off as he comes through. What can Captain America do? The 24 car is going to improve, but not enough to challenge.
He does improve, but not enough. Seafreeze up on the 2/10. So Seafreeze going to try to put his best effort. We only got 6 minutes to go, so we definitely have at least one more run left to see what happens. Joe Breeze is not out yet, and Seafreeze, when he comes out for his final run, he's definitely going to try to double down and try to get an even faster lap. So we'll see what happens. The both of them actually are over 7/10 up on Damaso and Go-To guys, so they are putting all on the line here for Mexico. So far in the qualifying, doing pretty well. Actually, it's Joe Breezy. Okay, he's moving for another driver. I thought he was retiring, but he's doing pretty well thus far as well.
Round 1 of the qualifying battle goes to Seafreeze. As now we see what will happen. Devil is going to not improve on his lap time, very much down on his lap time. Let's take a look at Fatal in the Williams. He's heading to pit lane this time around. Williams going to be having some good fun with one driver in tonight. No chances of messing up the pit lane as he pulls in.
Yeah. Xanabar unfortunately invalidated his lap, so he's going to be restarting his lap now. See if he can improve his time. He's now down to P7. I know he definitely got more time in him. And he's going to try to push it as he starts his lap now.
Kersey is just about to start his lap time now. He's invalidated his out lap. But it's just intriguing as Jones comes in to support the McLaren team that he's oh so familiar with. It's interesting that Kersey hasn't set a lap time yet. And he hasn't really been there to support his teammate yet, has he? So maybe he's just doing his own thing at this moment in time. But I believe the final runs, when they begin, we'll see Kersey ordered to be the drag strip in a way, to pull Seafreeze along to give him that extra speed. But I tell you what, if Seafreeze can get me 2/10 up on Joe Breezy without the toe, what's going to happen with the toe?
Oh yeah. I think that if they can work something out, I think that definitely would give them the advantage And I think it's for both the McLaren and Toro Rosso. They certainly have their number one driver, but they have also pretty strong number two driver. You see Damaso up there. Kuzi did pretty well these last few races in terms of moving up points and things like that. But I think overall the Toro Rosso and McLaren team doing pretty well. I think both drivers, Damaso and Kuzi, definitely put some great forth effort in supporting their team and try to get their best finish this season.
Kersey is purple in sectors 1 and 2. Now just a very short run into sector 3. Is he going to get provisional pole position and deny his teammate as well as Joe Breezy? Coming around the final corner now, what can the number 2 Toro Rosso do? It's gonna be P3. So that final
I think
sector.
He made a slight error there, the second to last corner, but still P3 pretty well. That's a really great performance by Kuzi, averaging there with other drivers. And Damaso moves up. And so you see both drivers, both teams doing pretty well. We got 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4 for Toro Rosso and McLaren. And then we got the Haas up there in P5 and 6. So these guys are, like I said, they're flexing their muscle. They're putting everything on the line. They're showing team effort today. I think they might have some team support. I don't think they will interfere in the race, but they definitely want to try to get their teammate in between their competitor. Speaking for Seafreeze and Joe Breezy.
Joe Breezy is rolling, so we will be getting an onboard lap time. So we've watched Zandamar give the crowd a little wave on his final time here as Mr. Downtown has left the session, made like a tree and left. But I believe he'll rejoin as soon as he can. But we will get a full onboard lap, as we did with Seafreeze, with Joe Breezy in this. This will be the final couple of runs here in qualifying.
Most drivers are starting to X in the pits now, or if not, just on their outlet now. And now we got Joe Breezy rounding in the stadium section as he comes to the last corner. He's going to start his fastest lap now as Seafreeze just now getting out.
Joe Breezy,
I think he invalidated his lap.
Hopefully that's not both, but he is going on to the race lap, so it is being recorded. No assistance from his teammate this time around. His teammate, I believe, can pit and just get back out, possibly, unless Damaso's qualifying is done. We see the Toro Rossos already giving each other a bit of a hand, but Seafreeze is on an out lap, so he'll be assisting his teammate. But look at that, through 1 and 2 and 3, and Joe Breezy very confident, a lot less scruffy than what we saw with Seafreeze.
Yeah, I'm right along with Kuzi now. He just set the fastest sector 1, so Seafreeze just helped out his teammate, and I think it's going to be the other way around soon as Kuzi crossed the line. He's going to may support Seafreeze on the front straightaway, but Kuzi so far set fastest sector 1. Oh, but he invalidated his lap. Fortunate.
So, coming through, Joe Breezy attacking the curbs in the S's. What can he do as he plants the power? He's revving the engine, purple in sector 2. The McLaren is not looking for the second position spot today. He wants P1. Can he make the final corner error? Unlike what we saw, Kersey, I don't even know where I was going with that one. Joe Breezy round the final corner now, very tight. Look at the direction of the car. He is going to be fastest. Just Joe Breezy fastest, a 1:13.801.
And I'm right along Seafreeze. It's just now starting his fastest lap. I'm watching Kersey as he's coming up and supporting his teammate there a little bit, trying to get a little bit of draft there. As Seafreeze tries to get a little bit of boost there, Kuzi steps aside, Seafreeze move over. And
that was
he
a
set the
little
fastest
bit,
sector 1.
A little bit late there for Kersey to make a move there as he retires from the session. He will not be impeding anyone from what I can tell. I think that's Joe Breezy on a lap time. It is, so Joe will be on an in-lap. That pulling will be fine. Now through the S's, fastest in sector 1, qualifying over. This is a lap that counts.
Seafreeze is going to have to be mistake-free and push everything here. Let's see if he's up in sector 2.
He is.
Set the fastest in sector 2. It's all comes to the stadium section. 0.3. Joe Breezy is up just a fraction of a tenth over Seafreeze, but Seafreeze is going to be rounded in the last corner. Can he get the pole?
No mistakes. He positions the car well. It's going to be P101, 13.6.
0.2. What a fast lap by Seafreeze. Unbelievable.
Only person that can beat him now would be Professional, but who just abandoned his lap time, and Tasmanian, who has invalidated his lap time. So, pole position goes to Seafreeze. And that...
Seafreeze definitely wants to secure this championship, on the track. He has a drag race, so there won't be any interference of the rain or anything like that. He's going to put everything on the line. Seafreeze has to win this race, and Joe Breezy, unfortunately, he has to not have such a great race. He can still have a pretty decent race, but he needs to have a great race. We'll see what happens. But also, too, we got Kuzi and Damaso up there, so they got their supporting teammates to try to get in between each driver, the championship rivals. But we'll see what happens. But it's great performance by Seafreeze, up by 2/10. If he can average that throughout the entire race, I think we can see possibly Seafreeze win the race and step it on the top podium at the end.
And as I said at the top of the qualifying show, we can go 4 or 5 wide into turn 1, and you don't always want to be on pole position at the start of this race. So, who's excited?
That's true. You definitely will drag some drivers on that opening lap there. But let's do a rundown. We got Seafreeze with a 13.66 and Joe Breezy with a 13.80. So just a 10th off. And then we got Kuzi, Damaso Professional, Xandamar, Go-To Guy in P7, Mick, iRoll, Fado in P10, Tasmanian Devil, Downtown, Dougie Falcons. And we have 2 reserve drivers of Flip-Flop of the Golden Class last night winner, and then GTR Line. So not the greatest performance by Dougie Falcon. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but or wrong setup. But
I think that's
we'll see
intentional.
what happens.
He's had a couple of bad races since Canada, making contact with Dolph Van Hoyst as a miscommunication into pit lane. Then as a professional, put a full send into T1 on lap 1 last week in America that ended in the McLarens making contact. But nonetheless, we will see what happens as we head into the race. I feel the tension. Do you feel it?
Oh, I definitely do. I actually felt the tension when we had a pre-race discussion, and I could definitely see Seafreeze is trying to do his very best to, put the best foot forward to try to win the championship. But we'll see what happens. But all Doug has to do is just have a solid performance. He doesn't have the greatest, just a solid performance.
So the drivers are making the final prep. They're sitting down in the cars. They're praying for the final time here in Mexico. Season 9 has been an intense time for the world as well as TCR, and we will see as Tasmanian leaves the session. So that's one driver that will not be starting the race. I believe we'll have 2 drivers that won't be starting the race. The 12 drivers will be taken to the grid today. We will see what TCR can do to elevate and give for the final time on the 2019 game. Dre, it has been an honour to do commentary with you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, it's been a great season. Last several seasons, actually, commentating with you. I wasn't always full time as you, but I always try to jump in the commentary booth when I have a chance. But when you're doing stewarding, you're commentating, you're a driver, and you're a board member, you kind of get bogged down a lot from time to time and not always be able to make it up into the booth. But we're starting our formation lap, and I know you asked me earlier who I think will win. I am going to make a conservative bet on Joe Breezy, but I think we'd like to see an underdog win. Seafreeze has been, for the most part, in second place most of the championship season, so I would like to see Seafreeze stand on top of the podium as an underdog as well.
The tensions rise. The drivers on the final formation lap of Season 9. All the drivers will be reflecting on this season. And remember that all the tensions from this season are going to be lifted as soon as that checkered flag falls. But we have 36 laps of racing to play with before then. Let's run through the grid one more time with the drivers on their full compound. Seafreeze in P1, his best chance to win the championship is now ahead of Joe Breezy in P2. Kersey is in P3, ahead of Damaso, who's in P4. Professional is in P5, ahead of Xandamar, leading the Haas charge in P6. Go-To Guy is in P7, just behind his teammate, and Mick is in P8. Another quiet qualifying session for Mick. P9 is iRoll, ahead of Fatal in P10. Remember, all these drivers qualified on the tyres, so they'll be slightly worn heading into turn 1. Outside of the top 10, and with free tyre choice, Mr. Downtown is not racing, so Dougie Falcons is in P12, ahead of Flip Flop, who's in P13. P13, and Lion, who's in P14. Dougie, the only driver to go on the alternate strategy and go for the medium tyres, first time out as the drivers come to the grid now. Dre, who are you watching off the start?
I'm definitely going to keep my eye on the top 4 drivers, actually, the top teams. But also, Flip Flop is in the last night Golden Race winner. Keep an eye on him because you might see him come through the field. He's very, very quick, and he will definitely be in Platinum class next season. So, dark horse, Flip Flop, but top winners is going to be Seafreeze or Joe Breezy.
So, the final time in Season 9, it's time to see those lights. The lights are on now. 5 red lights here in Mexico. The mayhem will begin now, and it's a great start for Joe Breezy in P2, who revs up and is past Seafreeze already. And now the drag race towards turn 1 begins. 4 wide
Look at
already.
Professional in the middle, 4 wide.
Seafreeze attacking to the inside line. Is he going to lose out to Damaso? Damaso looking at it. He decides not to go for a Professional. P3 as they all come barreling through turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. Seafreeze lost it off the line.
Great run by Professional, but Joe Breezy managed to get around to Seafreeze. Seafreeze tried to undercut him back in, but he managed to block him off. But so far, Professional and P3 split into the Toro Rosso and McLaren drivers.
We can see now Joe Breezy has the control of the race, but further back, Fish dropping back a few positions there as he battles alongside the Platinum drivers. He's being forced out wide, side by side with Fatal, heading into the S's, lifting off though, deciding not to go side by side this early on in the race. Remember, 36 laps of racing, that's a long old way to race.
Yes, and Dougie Falcon starting on the medium, starting in the rear, is already making up positions, and actually Mick and the Renault is actually falling back quite some positions. So we'll see what happens. And Fatal and Dougie Falcon swapping positions back and forth. But Joe Breezy already building a second lead over Seafreeze.
I wonder if Seafreeze overheated his tyres at the start of that formation lap. He's got some considerable grip. Seafreeze now dropped back a second, 1.2 seconds away from Joe Breezy. Professional is closing. The man who's been spending a lot of time in ACC driving GT cars is looking to have some fun today as he gets close up to the back of the pack. Let's have a look at Fish, who's going side by side again with Fatal, heading into turn 1. Who's going to be braver on the brakes? The 13 car does slip past Fatal with a time penalty already on lap 2 here in Mexico. And Fatal taking to the grass, and they're making contact with the rear wing. Sorry, the rear tyre of Fish's car. So I wonder if Fish didn't leave him enough room. That's a question for the stewards.
Yes, and also Xandamar in turn 1 lost out to 2 positions, one of his teammates to Go-To Guy and Cruzy. Cruzy's falling back a little bit after starting P4, but right now it's a tough battle in the middle, all the way from P5, P6 to P9. So we've got a little bit of train going here.
The gap at the top is growing. It's a 1.6 second gap after lap 2. I wonder if Seafreeze's setup is destroying these tyres early.
I'm not sure. We still got plenty of time after all. It's lap 2, but right now, very, very strong performance from Joe Breezy right now. Oh, we got Flip Flop Fish trying to make a look on Dougie Falcon, but may have tapped him. I don't think he got any wing damage, but gave him a little tap here in the rear. Oh, looks like Flip Flop's trying to undercut him. He might have an advantage here. DRS is now enabled, so we should see a lot of slipstream and passing now.
Lap 3.
Actually,
remember,
Professional is making a look on Seafreeze. I don't think he's going to dive in on him too early.
Fatal leaving the session before retiring, so a little miscommunication with what he's meant to do if he was sick of the race. So that car is now going to be driving around, I believe, in ghosted mode, which is going to really aggravate the drivers. Professional getting closer though, but not close enough. 12 drivers on the race tonight after the P13 car and P14 car are no longer in the race.
Well, that's unfortunate, but we still got a long train of cars here battling for the middles to see who's going to be best of the rest. And right now, but we still have some pretty tight battling going on. We got a train following Go-To Guy here with Kuzi, Xandamar, iRoll, and Dougie Falcon.
Following Kersley in this battle, he's looking to try and get involved and pass these guys as soon as possible to try and catch up with his teammate, to assist his teammate. We will see what happens, though, as he comes through the stadium section. He's got a tad more grip, unless he took an alternate line there to Go-To Guy. Joe Breezy is still faster, pulling out all the stops in that Renault engine. Remember, 2 more years of the Renault deal for TCR before McLaren get the full might of the Mercedes engine in 2021. But first, Kersey with DRS is going to pop it up the inside of Go To Guy. Should be a no competition move. Further back there is a competition move. Dougie Falcons to the inside line on Iroll. Iroll going to do his best to hang it round the outside of the British driver. Dougie Falcons taking no prisoners. He's going to guide the track again, the Quebecian, just a little bit off track. And here comes the very inopportune winner of last night's race, Fish, looking to the outside line on his teammate. He's going to barrel roll past. He's going to try. Lock up there.
Iroll locks it up a little bit, runs wide. They're
Oh,
side
the
by side. They're
They're going to
slowing
make
each other
contact.
down. Iroll, he's a very aggressive driver. He's not going to make it easy. And I think Flip Flop is not happy with him. He kind of gave him a touch in the back. I don't know if he lost a bit of wing there. I couldn't tell, but he was right on the back of him. He's not very happy about that race there. Look at how close he is onto his Ferrari driver. It looks like there's one car coming out of that corner right there. And now he's going to look on the inside.
This is like Sebastian Vettel versus Charles Leclerc here, the young gun who we know is going to be quick next season versus the old gun, the old, well, I'd say old timer actually. He's done a lot of
I would
fun
say seasonal
with TCR.
driver. Seasonal
driver, yeah. He's in trouble though. Cyrol's in deep trouble because here he comes. Was that orchestrated? No, it wasn't. They contacted around.
He clips the inside.
Oh,
he clips the inside.
He reset the track. That's disappointing. I don't like it when
He
drivers do
clips
that.
the inside of the track, and he got his right front tire on there and just lost it back in there.
Lion.
Harvard to see, man. I knew he was not very happy about that, but we'll see what happens. And then now,
Lion
GTR,
and Iroll making big
Iroll.
contact there.
Iroll is not afraid to extend his elbows at all. He
doesn't care, does he?
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't
hit
care.
him.
It's the last race.
So making contact
But
there
GT
between the two of them.
dives on the outside. He gets the position. Now he's going to push the Ferrari off the track. He has the advantage now.
I think Lion just said there, right, you knocked me off how many times? You can have that penalty, and I'm going to put you onto the grass. Devil leaving the session. Well, he rejoined back and had no car to jump into, so Mercedes scoring no points tonight.
No, that's unfortunate. But I'm actually looking on Professional now. He's only about 6 to 7 tenths off of Seafreeze. He's still in DRS range. I'm not sure if he's close enough to make a pass, but he's definitely close in the last several laps here. Seafreeze is still 2 seconds behind Joe Breezy after an unfortunate, not the greatest start, and Joe Breezy had the advantage of that. But look at Professional. He just misses out by the time he gets to turn 1. As Cruzy gets ahead of Damaso, his other McLaren counterpart. And and then Xandamar gets ahead of his teammate.
Just to bring up on what I've noticed from Professional, it seems the initial speed out the final corner, Professional is lacking compared to Seafreeze. That could be down to the dirty air affecting his car at the final corner. The Seafreeze getting that extra boost early, but I think Professional has to get it done somewhere in the middle sector if he wants to overtake.
I think that's where Professional picks up a lot of time. He's very good in the middle, and he really does really well at the end of the straightaway, especially with the help of DRS. But he's going to need a little support in the middle to really secure that. He's only half a second behind Seafreeze. He's doing pretty well.
Gap at the top coming down now, coming down to about almost half a second there. Sorry, 1.5 seconds as we look at the battle that's brewing. So Seafreeze able to go fast, but also not worry about the driver behind him. Is that he's not paying attention to Professional, as we see a little wiggle from the racing point there as he opens DRS now and runs towards the back. Kersey pits.
Well, he's certainly keeping an eye on the prize. He definitely wants to keep an eye on P1, but it certainly doesn't help when you have a driver behind you putting a little pressure on you. But he has to keep his head cool and keep his eyes on the prize of getting past Joe Breezy. But it's 1.7 seconds behind, but also too Professional is fast in the DRS right behind him. He's just right behind him and has an opportunity here in the next lap or so to possibly take that shot at him. But Seafreeze is actually... Go ahead.
Have McLaren order Joe to try and slow down to try and push Seafreeze into Professional. Because remember, as we saw, that's not going to help at all. A 3-second time penalty for Professional, but we saw from Lewis Hamilton back in 2016 a mistake for Professional. At the final race of the season, if you're in the lead, you drive whatever pace you want. You can go as slow as you want, as quick as you want, as long as you're leading the race.
Yeah, right now not the bestest lap for 007, but Professional. We'll see what happens, but Maybe Joe Breezy is trying to. Oh, it looks like we got some drivers pitting. All the top leaders are pitting now.
Ooh.
They are going to go on to the mediums and probably for their first stop. We'll see what happens as Marceau assumes the lead.
Fatal immediately into the chat after he left the session. He is not happy with someone. Mick, unfortunately, with a time penalty for speeding in pit lane. Both Hasses sticking out. What's happened?
Seafreeze loses out to Professional in the pits. I think that's either by the computer or the game. I'm not sure, but Seafreeze must not be happy about that.
Speaking of losing out, here comes Kersey. Oh, Kersey at full power has not overtaken his teammate. So, is that Toro Rosso order saying you do not overtake your teammate at all? He went one lap earlier.
Here's the thing too. Seafreeze went to the hards, and Joe Breeze is on the medium. So Seafreeze is trying to go all the way to the end, while Professional, Breezy may expect another stop here before this is over. Maybe we're lap 20 or 25, 26 before this is all over. So interesting strategy here. Seafreeze is taking the safest strategy. He's going till the end, but we'll see what happens. Also, too, we have not had a safety car. We had a safety car in the last few races. We might see one here today.
Surely, though, if Toro Rosso have split the strategy, so they have done, Kersey should be allowed to overtake his teammate as he's on the quicker tyre. So, as for the championship, Kersey has to get in front of his teammate this time round.
Yes. Right now, there's a gap between Seafreeze and Joe Breezy. Obviously, Seafreeze wants to mitigate that, but different strategies here. Professional went on to the softs again, so he's going to finishing on the mediums. Later on, probably a lap 20, he's going to come into the pits. But the top three drivers, all different strategy. Here go Kuzi. He's looking on his teammate. He's going to make a move.
I think that's a statement there saying go and play with Professional. But the fact that Professional's on soft tyres, as you mentioned, that really may screw up Kersey's chances. And if he can't get away from
Kersey
Seafreeze... almost
loses the back end there.
If you can't get away from Seafreeze now, it's absolutely fine. You're shouting, you shout, you see. If Kersey can't get away, this could also impact on Seafreeze's race by overheating his tyres and causing them to wear at an accelerated rate. Joe Breezy has got two cars in front of him and his championship rival right now. He really has one hand on the championship today.
In the back, we got a 3-battle race for P12 between Mick, GTR, and Flip Flop is the last point-paying position. All three of them are just scrapping for the last point-paying position. Just came out the pits. They got fast tires, fast laps, so they're pushing it.
I think Fish is taking track limits to his own little liberty there. It's more like IndyCar track limits there. Oh, you can go up there if you can get faster. Professional, the faster down the track. That's what we'd expect to see of a man who's running these soft compounded tyres.
But Seafreeze and Kuzier have been pushing each other as well. Seafreeze, I know he's probably a little upset right now. He probably wish he was in a better position right now, better advantage. But he's playing the long game. He's on the hards. We'll see what happens. Stretcher definitely has to pit again. Joe Breezy most likely will have to pit again, and we'll see what happens.
Lion blocking off Fish as best he can. His fellow reserve not able to get past. You just thought that the young gun is going to slip up the inside after a mistake from Lion there, clipping the inside curb at turn 2, and that almost ended in tears for the rather animalistic driver in the Racing Point.
And I was just going to say, GTR has always been one of the most cleanest and most steadiest driver, most consistent driver I've seen throughout my time through TCR.
Are you getting emotional now? We're only on lap 10. Here's Zandamar, who's got to get past Damaso. Different tyres there. Damaso on the hard compounded tyres, so going on the same strategy as Seafreeze. Okay. Intriguing. I'm stroking my beard and confused. I wonder if he's now been ordered to go on the same strategy as Seafreeze to attempt to get in the way of Seafreeze later on in the race.
Now, that might be the case, but you got two Toro Rossos behind him. On top of that, he's about 5 seconds off the time of Seafreeze. But that's interesting that those two are on the same strategy. And so they both play it safe and try to just make it to the end.
Watching hard, Zandamar season driver, final time in TCR. He's waving goodbye to the league. to go on to different pastures. I believe he's spending a lot of time in iRacing these days in the Assetto Corsa as he now runs up to the back of Tommaso, giving him a quick kiss, letting him know he's still there.
But he also got his teammate right behind him, go-to guy. They've been pretty solid this entire season. And, we'll see what happens. But Tommaso, on those hards, it's kind of hard to keep those two Haas's who are on mediums behind him, but he's doing his level best.
What a brilliant shot we got there with the helicopter cam as we see Zandamar just making a little mistake. What on earth is he doing with lines there? I wonder if his teammates going to be yelling in French or possibly even English at this point to the back of to him, just going, "What on earth are you doing? Position your car in a decent way, will you?"
Yeah, it's been a great season for the Haas, and kind of got the top teams again, still pulling along. But Joe Breezy, man, he's definitely putting those laps in. He's already building a gap between professional Breezy and Seafreeze. So far, it's about 6 to 7 seconds gap between him and Seafreeze.
On the move is Zandamar up the inside. His teammates following him through, trying to make it past Tommaso. The Mexican driver will be relegated to P8. But we know that Tommaso has got a different plan in mind with his strategy here in Mexico. At his home Grand Prix, he'd love to get on the podium today, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did pretty great in qualifying as well, starting in the top 4 position. And, it'd be great to have a great performance here for him for the last race of the season and for his home track. So I don't think we'll see Tommaso. I don't think we'll see the last of Tommaso before this race is over, but we still got a ways to go.
Let's take a look at that battle. It's brewing as Kersey runs off the track as they lap Fatal's car. So Fatal's car, as I said, is now going to really get in the way of everyone because it will not ghost. Now, I repeat, it will not ghost. Ghosting is off in the session. Fatal is left the session. His car is now going to get in the way of everyone. That could be a reprimand for Fatal, and he was quite upset. Again, what do you think, Dre?
That's certainly a possibility. The stewards will definitely take a look at that. Hopefully Fatal's car doesn't get in the way. But since it's not ghosted, it's definitely probably annoying for a lot of the drivers to try to get around them instead of going through them. But, unfortunately, I think Fatal retired after a couple laps. I don't know if that was by choice or by, the sheer coincidence of
he was in pit lane.
The car.
He was in pit lane. Yeah. So he I think he just got his combination of buttons a mistake there of clicking retire before leave, but he did say something in the Discord afterwards, referencing another driver. I can't say who because the word was only just a reserve, so I'm not sure who it was.
Yes, well, it's still a lot of passions, even if it's the final race, and again, people want to perform pretty well for the final race, so we'll see what happens. But Joe Breeze, actually, if you look at professional, it's starting to come on to the back of Joe Breeze. He is on those soft tires, so he does have a slight advantage. We'll see what happens if professional can get ahead of Joe Breeze before this is over. They both will likely have to pit again before this is over, and they might be on the reverse strategy. Professional might go on the softs, and Joe Breeze might go on the softs again. But we'll see what happens.
The difference in lines into Turn 1 is interesting. Turn 1 here is not easy, and neither is Turn 2 or 3. You can easily hook the car and spin, as the Haas's swap positions, as we saw earlier on, with a potential almost a mistake from Kersey. But Joe's in a bit of trouble. It seems that his brakes are a little bit high on pressure. Lots of lockups we're seeing from the McLaren.
We'll see what happens, but, when you go into Turn 1, it's a pretty wide corner, to be honest, but you could roll through that corner in third or even fourth gear. But the thing is, you gotta immediately hook it to the left for that second corner. So you may go in pretty deep into Turn 1 and get some advantage, but you gotta kind of compromise your line when you go to the second corner, and that's always the catch. But that's why Turn 1 has always been pretty fun here at Mexico.
Talking about compromising, it seems that Professional has hit that bit of a stump now. He's not able to overtake Joe. I think the setups may be too similar, and that is really helping Kersey, who's only 1.3 seconds away from DRS, to come and play with these two, and he'd love to come and play with these two.
Well, that's the thing about DRS and racing in general. You could catch up and ride behind a guy, but passing a whole nother thing. So Even though he may be right behind Joe Breezy, the championship leader,
Way!
and the effective point leads, but getting past him is a whole nother way of doing this.
That was wide there. Professional doing his best to try and get through. I know he's been driving a lot of GT cars recently, preparing for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's what he's doing post Season 9. I wonder if Professional is taking a little bit more insight into driving GT cars and taking that knowledge he's learning of that style of racing into Formula 1.
Yeah, it's great to see Professional up there doing pretty well tonight. We saw him throughout the season doing pretty well, but it's kind of the first time we've seen him in the top 5 on a consistent basis, and likely, on the podium here with Seafreeze and Joe Breezy. But Kuzi is going to try to spoil that fun here, and P4, he's on the same strategy as Joe Breezy, so we'll see what happens.
Pit lane for Dougie Falcons, our race leader, who has been quiet this whole time, heading into pit lane for the first time, and probably the only time. I think he might go onto the hard tyres. There they are, the hard tyres for the Red Bull, and he's looking for the best result he can do. He started outside the top 10. Where's he going to come out? This he's going to come out just behind the Hasses and just ahead of Damaso. Oh no, just behind Damaso.
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent most of the race, and so it's pretty exciting for Dougie to extend his tires that long and go 7 extra laps compared to everyone else and go on the mediums. And he's actually in P8, so that's pretty good. If he can stay this consistent lap, he can go to the end. But we should see another pit stop for most of these drivers, except for the hard drivers, especially for Professional, Joe Breezy, and all the medium drivers. They likely will pit around the next 5 to 6 laps or so. So keep an eye on that, and they will go to the end on those second set of mediums, or they might switch a different strategy. So we'll see what happens.
Trying to keep our eye on every battle we can do. Kersey now is improving, and I think that's telling us that Professional's tyres are starting to become a bit more worn than he would like them. Kersey's slight bit of oversteer, though, as he slides his way through the stadium section, and he will not have a chance to pass Professional pit lane.
Yeah, he did the 2 mediums, so about 10 to 8 laps on each of them, and now he will likely switch to the mediums or even the hards to the end. He's going to go on the mediums to the end. So but he has made his final pit stop, and he is going to the end. We'll see what happens. He's actually coming out. He might be in P8 or 9, but he's going to still have a pretty good advantage on a lot of the other drivers.
I think he might come out right in the middle of the battle we're currently watching on stream, looking at GTR, who's going to try and get past Mick. Not this time, though, and Zandamar with a 3-second time penalty, the first for the Haas team today.
Doing pretty well for Team Haas. They're now P4 and P5, and then obviously Toro Rosso. But we'll see what happens if this gives Seafreeze the advantage. He has the hards till the end, but the tire degradation is pretty high here. And if you can put those laps together, you could probably catch back up to Seafreeze. Especially for like Professional, who's on a different strategy. So we'll see what happens. We got a ways to go. We're just at the halfway point of this race, and again, we got a long way to go.
So half distance has been reached, and Fish has now got a driver who was in par for a podium tonight, right behind him. Last night's winner in the Golden class is looking to have some fun with these drivers. He's been a little bit disappointed, I think, with I-Roll earlier on in the race, and then disappointed with his half spin, which he'd only reset the track. We'll see what happens though as Professional comes up behind him. It should be a pretty simple move. 10 lap old tyres versus 1 lap old tyres.
Oh yeah, and especially with the help of DRS, we know how fast Professional is. I think he's going to make this pretty clear and simple pass here on the Golden driver. And who knows? We'll see what happens because Flip Flop will be in Platinum class next year, and we'll start to see some showing how he can perform tonight.
Further back, you see I-Roll getting past Lion. Lion, unfortunately, relegated down to the final position in this race. Now the battle is a little bit stagnant right now as we wait to see what the final battles or the final pit stops will bring us as the cloud starts to come over here in Mexico.
Yeah, we certainly got a little ways to go, and some drivers are about 10, 11, 12 laps on their medium tires, so I imagine in the next 5 to 6 laps or so, we'll start to see people switching to their final setup, the final strategy till the end. Dougie Fountain is putting those laps in to try to get ahead of Damaso, who's on the fresh hards, compared to Damaso, who's on the more recent hards. So we'll see what happens as they try to get past here and now, coming out the last corner. He'll probably get DRS and try to get that slipstream, try to get the advantage.
So Dougie Falcon's now on the attack for P6. But look at the speed of Damaso on the straight, but it's not going to be enough, I don't believe. Right at the end of a straight, Damaso just going a little bit defensive there. Dougie's going to have to go to the outside line. Red Bull Honda Energy versus McLaren Renault Energy. And
Damaso overextended himself just a little bit there, but...
Whoops! Oh!
Dougie! Catches the back end. He does get DRS again for the second straight, and they're side by side into turn 3.
I think Dougie Falcons is now going to be the only driver that's made a mistake and overtaken the car in front.
That's a great run. But Kuzi, oh no, gets a 3-second time penalty.
Dougie Falcons up to P6, Kersey in P2, and now suffering with time penalties as he has cut the course too many times. The stewards, in-game stewards, have given him a 3-second penalty. Now we wait to see. I believe we'll see drivers heading to pit lane soon. What are you thinking? Lap 23, 24?
Yeah, that sounds about right. If I remember correctly, that was about the same for last night Golden drivers. Then again, it was wet, so we'll see what happens. But that sounds about right. Seafreeze is only about 6 to 7 seconds off from Joe Breeze, and he's on the hard. So he's been pushing it pretty hard to try to maintain with this pack. But we'll see what happens. Kuzi still doing pretty well, only about a little over a second behind Joe Breezy. But these two will have to pit before this race is over.
McLaren, sorry, I always get that wrong. Ferrari into pit lane now. Fish onto a second set of medium tyres. So he's going to the end now. I was thinking that's a bit early, try and go for the softs, but it'd be fun to see someone try.
Yeah, I think he did a soft medium strategy. He's going in his final mediums till the end, and he's going to try to see if he can secure the last point paying position before this race is over. But 16 laps to go. A lot of errors to make. Still no safety car. Go-to guy with 3-second time penalty, but anything can happen.
As you say, green all the way here in Mexico City. The food here has been exquisite. And it's been a fun week, isn't it? It feels like ages since we've done commentary together. When were you last on comms? Was it Canada?
It was maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago.
I
can't remember correctly.
The Haas's potential of swapping positions, not this time round. Again, the race a little bit stagnant as we were waiting to see what it will bring. They are going to be soon coming up to the back of Fatal's remote control car. Oh, Haas are not swapping positions. Actually, I think they're racing a little bit here.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of blue flags for Fatal's lap car, but it's nothing, we can really do about that, unfortunately.
Black flag for Fatal. I wonder if the Haas is going to start racing a little bit. They're in a secure position. They got 4 seconds to the driver behind of Dougie Falcons. I wonder if I'll just let them race just for a little bit. The 34 and the 43 car. Look at that, some fun.
I think they both just want to make it across the line cleanly. We've already seen what happens when you go side by side. You can lose out and lose a bit of wing. I'm pretty certain they both didn't want to do that. They want to have a solid finish. But, these are smart drivers, and I think they kind of know when to and when not to race each other.
Tell you what, I still don't like this livery. I still didn't like the Rich Energy livery. I wish that they'd gone white with it instead. Have it white, then have the Haas name in black. Or have the Haas name in like the gold that Rich Energy wanted. But
yeah, well now for this season 2020 and the real Formula 1 should be back on track here within the next month, and so they'll be back to their traditional white, gray, black, and red.
I like that one better. I like that a whole lot better than anything they've done before. 2017 was such a disappointment for the Haas team. But I do like the original Haas car. It has a special warm hole in my heart because I quite like it. I wish I'd driven
Especially
it more.
Especially as American, I always prefer to drive with Haas. I think my first season with TCR, I think I drove a Haas, so that was always pretty fun.
I like it. I think Haas has really grown on me. It's a shame that potentially they will not be continuing in Formula 1 soon. Who knows? But the future is bright for this man, Damaso. I think next season he's going to have a good bit of fun next season if he can get it all lined up the way he has in the last couple of races.
Oh yeah, Damaso's done pretty well. And like with the our entire top teams, Toro Rosso, McLaren, and Haas, they've been pretty consistent this season and throughout the entire race. And Damaso trying to look on Dougie there a little bit, trying to fight back, but I don't know if he can quite do that. But Xanamar and Go-To-Guy, they've been pretty setting consistent lap next to each other, so we'll see what happens.
And Kersey is going to be impeded by Fatal's car just a little bit. I keep switching on to someone who's close to Kersey just in case, close to Fatal just in case there is contact.
Yeah, and so we should start seeing drivers coming to pits here shortly. That's where the real battle comes, is after this last pit stop where the strategy falls out. We don't see Freeze unlikely will come to the pits along with Dougie Falcon, and Damaso will likely stay out, while Joe Breezy, Kuzi, Go-To-Guy, and Xanamar, they will likely have to do another set of tires till the end. We got about 12 laps to go, and I imagine them start coming to pits here shortly. And then after that, we can kind of see where everyone pans out. Can Joe Breezy catch back up to see Freeze, or is he going to try to stick it out? We'll see what happens.
I'd love to see Joe Breezy pit and then come back in. It looks like he's taking a shallow line. Is that it's pit lane for Joe Breezy? No, it's not. Apologies. For Kersey in. So potentially next time round, we'll see Joe Breezy pit. He's now got to do absolutely everything in one lap to stay ahead of C Freeze. I don't think he'll have enough time to do it. Now we see drivers potentially looking to pit lane. No one this time round. Kersey is going to drop behind Damaso, which is exactly what he didn't want to hear, especially with Damaso having DRS.
And look who's right there.
Professional ahead.
Right there.
And that's a net P2, isn't it?
Yes, it's actually a pretty great strategy because Professional did softs, mediums. So he did a different strategy compared to the top drivers who did the mediums, the soft and the mediums, then go and do the mediums again. So his strategy was a little bit reversed. And so, but he has been on his tires for 7 laps, and we'll see what happens till the end.
Hard racing, hopefully we'll see as I become Master Yoda here in Mexico.
But right now, Joe Breezy and Seafreeze P1, P2. Joe Breezy will likely come into the pits again here shortly. Hopefully maybe this lap to try to mitigate that time compared to those medium tires and those hards. He's going to go another lap. He's going to try to extend it another again. We'll see what happens. But so far, Seafreeze is not making significant gains on Joe Breezy, even though he has clear air now. Go-To-Guy gets another 3-second time penalty.
In fairness, Seafreeze's tyres are 17 laps old, so they can go to about 25 laps, I believe, before they really start to hurt. And something went wrong there with Damaso. He's dropped way back from Dougie Falcons, and here comes Professional. Is he going to make a clean move like his namesake James Bond would do?
But also, too, a strategy for Seafreeze, and he might be thinking this too. Maybe he's going to pit too, but he's going to put the softs on. Or maybe he's betting there might be a safety car and he can throw the softs back on and give him an advantage there. So that can definitely work to his advantage, and we'll see what happens. But maybe he might be interested in coming to pits, and the final last when he has a clear gap between 3rd and 4th place, he can probably put those softs and try to chase down Joe Breezy.
What did we see Professional go to? About lap... Oh, and Fatal's car is getting in the way of everyone! Fatal slowing everyone up there. We saw Professional take his soft size about lap 8 or 9 as I stutter over every word possible. So I wonder if we'll see both the drivers head towards the soft compounded tyres.
Right, yeah, that's about right. And actually, Joe Breeze is actually extending his time on Seafreeze right now, just about a half a second per lap. But we got a train here from Damaso, Professional, Kuzi. Professional, he's on his final tires for the rest of the race, so he's just trying to... Whoa,
Kuzi almost losing the rear end! Left hand down as he catches it through the final corner of the dirty air, really affecting his grip, and he's getting annoyed. You can see by the way he's driving, he's getting annoyed with the dirty air.
Yes, Go-To-Guy comes in, and he's going to put on the soft, and he's going to come just behind these guys towards the end. So he's going to go all the way to the end and stays ahead of GTR Lion.
what we've seen here was Fatal's car has seriously impacted these three races. It's exacerbated. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much today. It's exacerbated Dougie Falcon's run as he came through this particular section. Dougie was held up by the car trying to overtake it. Then Damaso had to overtake it, and Professional and everyone. It just caused everyone to sort of pile onto each other. No contact, obviously, because these guys know how to race without making contact. As we look,
Man,
Kersey,
it's a tight battle here in the middle.
look at that, Joe
These
Breezy
guys are
pit
really-
lane.
Joe Breezy into the pits. Let's see what he puts on.
On board with Kersey, trying to go around the outside of the point where you're going to try. He's off the track. He's overtaken off track. Is he going to be asked to hand that back? It doesn't seem like it as he chops across the front wing. Joe Breezy's soft tyres.
He got fresh, soft, the softest tires on the track. He's going to chase down Seafreeze with 19 laps hards, and he's got about 10 seconds to do it. Let's see what happens.
I wonder
And
if
10 laps to go.
the stewards will take a look at Kersey and go, you did overtake off track. Even if the game didn't tell you that you overtook off track, you did.
Well, that's something the stewards are going to have to decide, but we'll see what happens at the end of the race. And Kuz actually got a 3-second time penalty, so maybe that kind of came back on him a little bit there.
What did Fernando Alonso say? Was it karma?
There you go.
No, we're not hating on Kersey. He's a great driver. We're just having a bit of fun. But the gap at the top is 10.3 seconds, and Joe Breezy is now going to be on the attack. He doesn't have to win this race, but I think he wants to deny Seafreeze from winning at one of the only tracks Seafreeze hasn't won at before.
And this is the race to the end. Joe Breezy with the fastest tires, and Seafreeze with a different strategy. Seafreeze is going to the end. Unless there's a safety car, he might come in and put another soft zone to try to even things out. But if we stay green, he is going to the end. Joe Breezy with the fastest tires, and even one lap already brought down 1 second in one lap. So we got about 8 laps to go with 8 seconds to behind Seafreeze. We'll see what happens. But this is the race till the end. This is for the championship.
I tell you what, this safety car could come soon, because here comes Kersey trying to overtake Damaso, and Professional has been absolutely fighting the back of Kersey's rear end. Damaso trying to go defensive on Kersey, running him down, lower down. These two, their teammates in a championship fight. Now Kersey is going to make it the move at the inside, as rubbing, they're touching.
Kersey touched him just a little bit, and that almost allows Professional to come through a little bit. Professional round the back of Kersey. Oh, I thought there might be a little tap there too, but they are side by side.
Damaso's in trouble. Here we go. 2 cars in one straight. Here comes Professional at the inside line. It's going to end badly. It hasn't ended badly. No, it has. Oh, he caught
Damaso
it.
gets slightly in the back of Professional, but he keeps it straight. He has the advantage. He lost a little bit of time there, but we still got a ways to go. I don't think Professional liked that very much.
I don't think he liked it, and he made it clear by cutting across Damaso's nose that he tries to overtake him there.
Yes, he did.
Look at the gap
But he
at the
has
top.
a little ways to catch back off, yeah. Man, it's coming down 7 seconds already, and it's already set the fastest Sector 2 lap. He might set the fastest lap here now.
Kersey, I wonder. I hate to theorize these types of things, but there are certain corners you can go slightly wide at and gain time, and the game won't penalise you. Most notably Stowe at Silverstone. I wonder if Kersey's worked out what corners they are at this track, and he's now going to have some fun by doing it, because he's gained a lot of time up on Dougie Falcons. And bearing in mind, though, 13 lap 1 hard tyres are going to be less than adequate to fight that Toro Rosso. But all Dougie has to do now is sit within 6 seconds, and he will take the podium away from Kersey.
Yeah, that's true. Kersey does have several penalties right now, and we'll see what happens after that. Right now it's pretty good results for Toro Rosso, and 1 and 3 right now. They might be able to secure P1 in the Constructors' Championship, but it's a pretty tight battle right now. But right now, Joe Breezy, 3rd lap on his tires after the pits is already brought down 5 seconds, and he just absolutely flying. He just set the fastest lap last lap. I think he's on another run to set another fast lap, but he is starting to see Seafreeze just ever so slightly. He's starting to catch up with that Toro Rosso. Seafreeze is unfortunately at a disadvantage at the moment. He needs a safety car or something to kind of mitigate the fast laps of Joe Breezy, but Joe Breezy is just absolutely flawless at the moment.
Again, that safety car can come from this man Fatal. Here, Fatal's lapped car is is lapped down by one laps, and he's really got in the way of Mick there. I'd say it's disgraceful, but Codemasters AI is just tends to be like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And, Damaso, I'm right along with Damaso. Damaso trying to catch back up to you, Professional, after that incident, but already 2 seconds down. And Professional, I think that might have burned up some of his tires when he got that in that scrap with the with those drivers on his medium tires. But unfortunately, he lost a lot of time off to Dougie Falcon. But he might be able to still secure P4, maybe P3 if he get around Dougie Falcon, because Kuzi does have at least 6 seconds of time penalty, but also 6 seconds to go. Look at
Joe Breezy with a 3-second time penalty. In fairness, he should be able to break that 3 seconds when he passes Seafreeze.
2.5 seconds behind Seafreeze. Look how fast he's. So if he could definitely get around, but when he gets around, he has to still run away. He has to consistently put those laps in before those soft tires run out. But he still have a little bit of time.
Remind me, is Joe Breezy 2-time champion or triple champion already in TCR?
I believe, to my knowledge, I think he definitely has 1. He might have 2, but if he wins tonight, he'll definitely at least have 2. So we'll see what happens. I don't know that top of my head. Seafreeze is a 2-time champion. Actually, I take the back. I think it might be 3, and so he's trying to get his 4th one tonight. But so, right now, Joe Breezy is absolutely flying.
McLaren Renault versus Toro Rosso Honda. The final year of the Toro Rosso partnership. Next season, in Season 10, they will be the AlphaTauri team. Are you excited for AlphaTauri?
Yeah, it's nice. I like the color of the paint scheme and, something different. I always kind of thought it was interesting to have essentially 2 Red Bulls on the track. One called Red Bull and the other one Toro Rosso. I thought that was kind of weird for a number of years, but AlphaTauri definitely sounds better. It offers a different side of the Toro Rosso and Red Bull operations. So, even though we have an A and B team, wow! Just look at
talking about A and B team now. A and B tires right here. Look at this. It's like GP2 car versus the GP versus the Formula 1 car. Here we go. Onto the straight. These two are gonna have to battle. Seafreeze moving to the middle of the track. He's going to move further along. He's still got a spare move he can make as he tries to cover. Does Breezy go even further down? He does not. He gets forced to go to the outside line. Here he comes. Seafreeze having no response. Oh, he's going to try it now on the inside. Local lock up and he hit.
Oh, Seafreeze gets a little bit. And then he gets a 3-second time penalty. Slightly cut the corner there.
That's out.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Now they both, top 2 drivers both have a 3-second time penalty, so now they essentially even out. So the battlers now have to be on the track. Unfortunately, the different strategy the Seafreeze tried to do that almost brought him to the end. But unfortunately, Joe Breezy was able to steer clear of some traffic, and so he's able to push his car as hard as he can. And those laps should those tires should last him to the end, both of them. So I think Seafreeze is just trying to bring the car home and try to get the best finish that he can. But a really great start for Joe Breezy. He only started second, managed to get off the block, off the grid a lot faster than Seafreeze, and we're starting to see the real champion stand down here tonight, and most likely to secure the championship. We still got 4 laps to go. Anything can happen, but I think we're starting to see who has the real pace here tonight.
Alternate strategies may have killed the racing today, but it's not done. Let's take a look at Professional, who's close to the back of Dougie Falcons. Both these gentlemen have to be aware. Kersey in front has a 6-second additional time penalty to the end of his race. Oh, we got a spinner in the further back. It's a Fish. He's span round in the track, heading into the stadium section. He's struggling on his 12-lap warm medium tyres. I think he's overheated his rears. I think it was him into pit lane this time. Carl really struggling there. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Now he's retired from the session. That's unfortunate. That's okay. As a reserve driver, he'll be here full time next season, so he can put his full weight behind the team that he chooses for the Platinum class for season 10. Also, too, we'll be on the new 2020 game that's going to come out next month. So next season 10, will be on the brand new game, and we'll be driving the AlphaTauri and the updated cars, and excited to see what happens in season 10.
Dougie Falcons under pressure. Here comes Professional. Professional trying it around the outside, could not try and get alongside.
Dougie's still in the back. I mean, he's on 60 left on the mediums. I think that's still pretty good. He's still going to be competitive. If he gets around Dougie and just try to catch up a little bit on Kuzi, he might be able to secure P3. Because Kuzi does have 6 seconds worth of time penalty. So if Fatal pushes here to the end, he might be able to secure P3. We'll see what happens.
Look who they're coming up to again. Fatal's fun car is coming to play as Dougie Falcons and Professional go side by side. The yellow flag is going to seriously affect Minatsov Fish's car, and I think this time round Professional has got the better run. You
a little slow to the corner there.
Yeah,
for
that
Dougie
car.
Falcon.
Oh, side by side for Dougie, and he's bumping and bashing and smashing. And the yellow flag is now getting well in the way. Yellow flag today is going to cause major havoc. That car shouldn't be on track. There it goes.
Wow.
It finally pulls
Just
off.
get out the race.
And
Fresh right on the back of Dougie at the moment.
That could have ruined one of the better races we've seen today. 8 seconds is the gap, unfortunately, between these guys. They will have to negotiate Fatal's car at some point. As now we see them go side by side, is he going to guide him off? And this time round, there's no contact, there's no cars that are almost making collisions. Dougie is going to have to be relegated one place down, but he will get DRS this time. So this is costing them P3, but I think having a bit of fun is still the order of the day, because that's what league racing is. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, we all do this for fun. But here comes Dougie fucking back on Professional. Look at him with that DRS.
Oh, we're on the penultimate lap. I didn't even realise. Penultimate lap of racing is begun, and Joe Breezy currently is looking to secure definitely a championship. I believe it's his third championship as we look at Professional looking to the inside line. He's going to chuck it up the inside of Dougie. Lock up on the front left. Dougie is just... I think Dougie's having fun just racing.
Oh, yeah. Also, too, Seafreeze is maintaining a 3-second gap between him and Joe Breezy. Joe Breezy is not setting the fastest lap as before. Now his soft tires are pretty much worn down. Now he just had to survive for one lap and just try to bring it home here. But great run by both of these drivers. Different strategies, and we got to kind of see them battle on track there a little bit to see who has the advantage. But right now, Joe Breezy starts his final lap of season 9 of TCR Platinum Class.
Did you go through puberty for a second there? Your voice broke.
Maybe I just need a drink of water.
Dougie Falcons immediately going defensive there. The Englishman is not interested in losing his P4 today. This is just phenomenal racing between everyone. And this, unfortunately, with the racing slowing down a little bit, Go-To Guy going attacking Damaso there, and it's a quicker move. And it seems that the racing is almost done. No, contact between Professional. He runs into the back of Dougie there. He'll cry that Dougie was slow. Dougie will cry, hey, I can go whatever line I want.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what's coming back to play? There's Fatal's car.
Oh, yeah, we see Fatal.
This is great. Kersey! Ooh.
Kersey, another 3-second time penalty. I don't know how this changes for Dougie Falcon.
No, I don't think it will.
We'll see what happens. Okay.
2 seconds they'll have to get. But the fireworks are loud. The racing has been great. Joe Breezy, he's going a little bit slower, but he is going to be the Season 9 champion, and he totals his car at the line. Finally, the championship decided. Seafreeze P2, and I believe that is the Constructors' Championship for McLaren as well.
Oh, Fatal's right in the middle of the last corner. Oh, Fatal's lap car gets into Dougie Falcon.
Oh, and that's it! Ending Professional's race. Fatal has cost everyone the thing. Oh, God. We saw it
gets
coming.
Involved. Oh,
Professional.
No. And Damaso moves up to P4.
Professional.
Oh, no, that's unfortunate for
out.
Professional.
Yellow flag reigns as coming through there. Are you serious? Professional yells in the chat. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. We've been calling that for about 34 laps by now.
And so far, it's been pretty clean for Fatal's lap car, but it definitely impacted that last lap, last corner. I can totally understand because he was battling for a pretty good position there, and that's unfortunate. He was in the top 3 for most of the race, but that is it. That is the final race for Season 9 of TCR with Joe Breezy with the win and with the championship.
as we've seen it many times this season, McLaren P1 with Joe Breedy, the 24 car, taking home the silverware back to Woking. Steve Fries, unfortunately, P2 ahead of Kersey P3, who did well and was, I think, a little bit lucky to get that podium with the penalties that he had, but he did very well.
Yeah, so great performance by all the drivers. Great run for Kersey, who gets another podium this season. But I knew those top 4 drivers would be up there, and so a pretty great response by everybody around.
So here are the results, barring any stewards' investigations. Joe Breedy finishing the day in P1 and securing both championships for McLaren in the process. Steve Fries in P2 ahead of Kersey, who's in P3. D'Amato did well to come back to P4 and have a penalty-free race, the only drivers to do that. Dougie Falcons in P5 ahead of Zandamar, who's in P6. Go-To-Guy was in P7 ahead of Iron, who's in P8. Lion was in P9, and Mick, the final points paying decision, in P10. The driver that did not finish the race was professional on the last lap, but we will classify him as 11th. Fatal retired very early on, and Fish also retired too. A couple of drivers did not start the race. And for the final time in Season 9, we can relax.
Wow, what a race. That was pretty, especially that last lap, last corner there, unfortunately, for a professional. He's already in the chat saying, that kind of describes his season overall for Season 9 that, did pretty well and could have done well, but unfortunately had some bad luck at the end.
So, professional also putting in Discord, just describing what he saw. Fatal's lap car got into Dougie, so made contact with the Red Bull of Dougie Falcons, and then it put him into the wall. But let's get the McLaren on screen. And we'll wait for them to be invited.
Get the drivers invited. We're going to get Seafree Kersey and Joe Breezy into the chat.
And I'm standing up because my knees are very sore. Oh, gravy. It's when I commentate on a footstool, so I sit on a footstool rather than on a bed or anything. So it's good for the core, but at the same time it gets a little bit stiff after a few hours.
Yeah.
It's alright, I used to do a commentary over a full 100% race distance race at the end of the season, and that sucked, because it was full qualifying and a 100% race, and I had the voice of a 12-year-old by the end.
Alright, we got Kuzi in the chat so far. Let's wait till we get all the rest of the drivers. But
Seafreeze, and I believe that's one more, we're just waiting on Mr. Joe Breezy. There he is.
Champ.
Dre, as it's your last time doing podium interviews, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, first of all, let's get the obvious out the way. Joe Breezy, the winner of tonight's race and the championship winner for Season 9 of TCR. First, kind of walk us through your race, and then kind of walk us through your season. How do you feel about being in the championship now? So, Breezy, how do you feel?
I mean, it's always been the goal going into the season. I know that with the racing line on, I had the pace to be up there and win a championship. I did that on my debut season as well, so that's always been the goal. Started off a little rough. I made some dumb mistakes here and there throughout the season that cost me, I would say, an easy championship victory, but to be honest, I don't really regret anything. It's coming down to the line in the last race was pretty cool, to say the least. Outside of that, the race was pretty clean. Going into turn 1, I did my best to not make contact with Freeze. I cut the crap out of turn 2, knowing I was going to get a warning there just so that I stayed on the outside of him, but was what it was. And then I had the pace. The pace was there. Pulled away for a while and knew that on the last stint that I'd be able to make my attack on Freeze and get up there. So no, it was pretty uneventful race for me for the most part after lap 1, turn 1. But yeah, it was a good race, and McLaren took it home. Champs.
JB, you have any questions for the winner and champion?
Apart from look at your Discord, mate, because I've just been spamming you with Jeffs. Well done, mate. How was this season stacked up to your debut season, where obviously you won? now double world champion for TCR. Are you looking to continue the partnership with McLaren into next season, or are you going to be looking elsewhere?
Most definitely, we are reserving that car, for sure. That is definitely the car I plan to take into the next season. I love the sound of the Renault engine that I've heard so far from the previews of the game. Yeah, I like the color scheme, everything about it. I've just loved the McLaren car in general the last couple of seasons. So yeah, definitely calling that one out. That's definitely my car, taking it. And then yeah, like honestly, I'm just excited to do racing with the line off with everyone. Like I don't even care if I'm like I don't care if I win the championship, but just like racing without the line on was so much more fun last season. I enjoyed it so much more, racing in cockpit as well. So I'm really looking forward to going back to both of those and just enjoying racing, which is what I do this hobby for. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, not long to go. I'll hand you back to Dre. Dre, take us through the rest.
And let's get hear from our second place on the race and former champion and now a second in the championship. Seafreeze, kind of walk us through your race and then walk us through your season. How did you end up here? As we discussed in preseason and the pre-race, excuse me. But you were going to try to do everything you can to get ahead of Joe Breezy. You were there for a while, but kind of what happened? Walk us through your race.
Awesome. Well, firstly, congratulations, Joe Breezy, on the championship. You obviously wanted it, and you earned it through all the time you put in. It didn't. I guess you just didn't show up and do that. So yeah, congratulations. The race, I don't know, it was boring. A little upset the win wasn't there. A podium I'll take. That's how it should be every week. But yeah, good race, good points. Another podium. If we got trophies, I'd take a trophy too, but we don't.
I was told there was a trophy being mailed. What happened?
Ooh, maybe. Well, for each race though, that's that. We need we need you guys using those affiliation links, really bad.
I want a gift, at least.
Yeah, we'll get you one. We'll get you something.
At this point, I'll buy you something, Joe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was uneventful race. But the whole season, I don't know, it was kind of probably one of my better or best seasons in a while. Maybe not championship, position-wise, but just like there was a lot of races here that I was able to win, that tracks that I've never won at before, and I don't know, overall pretty good. A few mistakes here and there. Probably the biggest was China and Belgium, which those were my doing. The only one that I wish would have made it a little bit more interesting, a little bit closer, would be that France race. Obviously it was not my control, disconnection, but throughout, obviously that's not my control. So same with Breezy. He had only a few races where he finished outside the top 3. He had a really good year, so it's just a few races here and there, touch up, but to compete at the front, it's what you want to do. So it was pretty good. I'll take it.
If I can briefly ask, what happened at the start? I know you started on pole. Did you just spin your tires, or just couldn't get the grip all set up as much as you like?
I don't know. Again, I was happy to get pole. If there's any takeaway, well, let me just say this, and I'll get back. The whole season, this season, I'm not the best at quali. If you look at my numbers going in, I didn't really have many pole positions, and I think I might have almost doubled my pole positions, or at least I got a lot. I feel like I don't know how many it was, but to get another pole was kind of cool. So I'll take that. The grip, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a whiner, but I need new pedals, and
well, if you use the TCR link with Fanatec.
There you go.
I'll need to use. I'll have to find out how to use it. It's everyone else using it, and I haven't gotten my gear in a while. So, yeah, no, just I guess low grip, the throttle, in my lower portions of the throttle. If you look at my telemetry, it jumps from 1 to 100, like it like spazzes left and right. And on PC, it doesn't do that. So I don't know if it's a PlayStation thing, if it's telemetry. I don't know what it is, but regardless, it was good.
Good. JB, do you have any other questions for Seafreeze?
Looking to next season, with the potential of going to AlphaTauri or any other car, is there any car that you would be happy driving that isn't Honda powered?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't like it when he does that to me. I don't like that.
You're not gonna get anything out of me yet.
That's not fair.
We just finished the race, and now you're saying, what car are you going to drive?
Pick a damn car,
I gotta catch
Chris.
my breath over here, you know what I mean?
No, you have to pick the car for next season. Pick it now. This is the only chance
But
you get.
hey, how about this? That was the last time I've driven a Toro Rosso. How about that?
That's great.
Which feels, at least we were able to double podium it out, so...
That means you can't drive it for the rest of the events that we do in the off-season.
That's the last time I played F1 on this game. I don't have the disc version, but deleting it off, wheels put away, and I don't know, maybe I'll take my float out. I'll go in the pool with a nice beverage of some sort. And
nice, I like it.
See, that's AlphaTauri money there.
Yeah. Before we go, let's hear from our third place finisher, Kuzi. You kind of battled with your McLaren counterpart there for a while, but you managed to get ahead. You did have a lot of time penalties, but still managed to stay ahead. So walk us through your race, and congratulations on the podium.
Thank you. Yeah, we started in third. Qualifying was horrific, as per usual. And I had to do 2 laps on my soft, so the start was terrible, and I lost like 2 or 3 positions, and I had no grip to start with on the first stint from doing the 2 laps and qualifying on them. So I was already kind of on the back foot. I had to pit a bit earlier than what I would have liked to go onto the mediums, and the second stint was pretty uneventful. Just was kind of, I think, professionals in front. For some reason, I actually don't remember the second stint like at all, so I'm assuming nothing happened. And then going into the third stint, I got stuck behind a lot of traffic, and yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking because I knew I had to pace on them. I had much fresher tires and things like that, so I was trying to be patient, just trying not to get damaged or anything like that. So I had to kind of maneuver my way around quite a few people than I planned, that I would have liked, but yeah, we were able to pull away and pull a gap even with the penalties and that kind of stuff. So I'm happy with another podium, and considering how the race started, so can't really complain about it. Yeah.
Well, good. Congrats again. JB, do you have any other comments or questions for our top 3 drivers, our champion and co-champ? Or the second place?
Kersey, throughout the season, it's been up and down from all sides, from having highs such as Germany, where you got on the podium, which was then obviously taken away from you due to the penalty, and now I believe in the last 3 races, you've been on the podium twice. You're becoming a regular up here. Next season, is there any reason why you shouldn't be battling for the championship?
No.
Excuse me.
There was a lot of incidents that kind of between having issues with my wheel and then just colliding with people throughout the season and that kind of stuff. And going into the season, Seafreeze and I kind of had a goal of like to win the constructors and for me to kind of be like a top 4, top 5 kind of guy. And I think I improved a lot during the season. And yeah, really, once we kind of ironed out all the kinks of colliding with people, no matter whose fault it was, and I got the wheel fixed and that kind of stuff, I kind of showed what I was actually capable of. I think the last like 4 races, even in USA, I think I was 2nd or 3rd before penalties. So to cross the line in a podium position, starting from last there, I'll take that for sure. So it was a pretty frustrating season with the expectations and the hopes that I had for myself. But I am very pleased to kind of put it all together and show what was really possible towards the last 4 races, whatever it was. So definitely pleased with how we closed the season.
One final question to you, seeing as your teammate was so biased towards not giving me any car choices, what colour is your helmet going to be next season?
The car choice ain't up to him.
Is the teammate choice up to him? Get away from him, there's another one.
He can make the helmet up.
Alright, just for that response, I'm bringing Talon out of retirement.
Shout out to Talon. Talon, baby.
Shout out to Talon. But I have no idea. We had some talks about it, but yeah, we don't know yet. We're just kind of glad to get through the season, and we'll kind of deal with that when it gets around.
Nonetheless, thank you all 3 of you for joining us.
I'd just like
for the
to say
final...
one more thing before you close it out, because I heard that voice kicking.
I only have one.
No, you got tones. You're British, remember. Now this is not the driver's seat for you talking. This is the other side. Like I said earlier, just huge thanks to everyone who helped out. Like I said, all forums in season 9. It was actually a really good season. Both classes, championships down to last race, which is always exciting. There's a lot of good talent out there. A lot of things in store for next season, season 10, on the new 2020 game in August. So make sure you guys, tune in for that. If there's any drivers or, wanting to join, the link's in the description. You can sign up and, get your trial going. So just huge thanks all around. If any drivers have any highlight montage, like top moments, biggest or best overtakes, wrecks, saves, any highlight stuff from this season, please send them. We're trying to make some cool things through the off season, and I think that is it. So yeah, just huge thanks, and that's it for me.
Alright, so as my PlayStation is complaining, it might go into rest mode in a minute. It has been a few seasons since I joined TCR, and my co-commentator, Dre, has been with me the whole way. I believe on the first time I did commentary, I had you with me, didn't I, Dre?
I think that's right. It's been a while, but I think that's right.
So we're both old and grey now. You're moving on, and unlike these 3, they're not saying goodbye to you. I will. And Dre, you have been a source of entertainment and love that TCR could ever have. And I couldn't have asked for a better co-commentator throughout my entire career in TCR. Thank you so much, mate.
Well, thank you. It's fun to be here as a multi-role here as a commentator, driver, steward, and helping out on social media wise, things like that. But I'll still be around. I'm not gone forever, but definitely get involved in different forms of racing. So. I appreciate that, and I definitely will probably reserve from time to time in the coming seasons, but we'll see what happens. But again, thank you so much again, and good luck to everybody next season.
Thank you.
What he's saying there is he preferred commentary over everyone else, so he preferred being on commentary with me, clearly. Nonetheless, though, in a little over 23 days, Formula 1 returns to our screens in Austria. But before that, you can look back on the entirety of Season 9 with fond memories here at TCR, all the way from the Golden class to the Silver class, as well as the Platinum class. I've had great fun this season. I've spent some time over in Golden for the first time on commentary, which was really good fun. I've made friends, I've made enemies, and I've made a few more friends. And I'm really looking forward to Season 10. Make sure you stay safe. The world is a dangerous place right now, but thank you to everyone at TCR and every one of you for watching the races. Make sure you email in some of those highlight moments. Make sure you get it on the stream, though, because I want to hear my voice, because I'm a bit biased. For the final time in Season 9, have a very good time and stay safe, everyone. Ta-ra, guys.